Hey there guys, it's DMO73 bringing you one of the 2 deck profiles for the week. This is for my Kaguya 1.0 Bunny Hop control. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. So the ruler side is Seer of the Blue Moon. Her J activate is pay 0, but you can only play it if you put a Treasury item onto the field this turn. And then her continuous is you can actually pay 1 less colorless cost to set a standby. So instead of having to pay 2, you set 1. That's kind of the whole purpose of this deck, is to utilize that ability and kind of spam it to kind of keep the control of the board until you J activate, and then you maintain even bigger control of the board because of the abilities found on Kaguya 1.0 Princess of the Moon. Her ability is pay 0. Change the text of target treasury item by replacing all instances of one attribute with another. So if it says like cannot be damaged by darkness cards, you can respond pay 0, change it to light. It's a pay 0 and it's an activate ability, so you can activate this multiple times in one turn, in one chase, as much as you want. Create some pretty nasty combos with some of the different treasury items, and we'll talk about that. And then her activate is you can pay 2 water and 1 of any color to search your main deck for a treasury item, reveal it, put it into your hand. The other thing is, although she is a human, she cannot do battle, which means that, you know, you can't actually, because she has no defense, you can't burn her with thunder, flames of the outer world, any of that stuff that does damage to J rulers. You can't target her for an attack, all of that stuff. The only way to kill her is to change her race and use something like Elvish Exorcist or something like that, or Dragon Slayer, or blow her up with Joan of Arc's the ruler's enter ability. So yeah, so she pretty much stays safe for the entire game. In most matchups, nobody can really do anything about it. So yeah, that's that. Moving on to the stones, we do 2 basic water, and this is the updated list after doing more testing for the match that you guys saw, so there will be some changes to make it hopefully better. So 2 just basic water stones, because we don't want to get burned too bad, and this deck primarily runs water. 2 of the Moonshade stones, because we wanted more light access as well as water as well as dark. And this is, you know, just only 2 is not too bad in order to have to pay a life every now and then. We run 4 of Magic Stone of Light Vapors to be able to get the light water as much as possible, because that's what the deck needs. And then 2 Magic Stones of Dark Depths to get the water as well as the darkness that this deck sometimes needs for the Jewel on a Dragon's Neck addition treasury item in order to make some plays and do recursion from the graveyard. So yeah, then we go to the monster package. We run, for our draw engine, 4 Night of the New Moon. Now most people would say, why aren't you running Cheshire Cats? And that's because I wanted to make this a little bit more budget, as well as the fact that there is kind of a neat trick. Like you saw, you can eventually turn it into being a powerhouse with Loginus if you need to, as well as there's a neat trick to maximize the draw power with it with 5 challenges that I'll talk about later, so I'll set one of these aside. Then, Little Mermaid of Tragic Love. This card is really powerful, especially when equipped with a Loginus and a J-activated Kaguya, because you can essentially force your opponent to block, and regardless of what's going to block with her, she's never going to die. So you can really control your opponent's board state by swinging in a lot with this. And even if you're still trying to get the combo set up, it's still powerful to be able to get a free draw card and force your opponent to tap down things that they necessarily don't want to. And then, because again, equally powerful with the Loginus shenanigans, is 1 Inch Boy. If he ever does damage to something, it's going to kill that Resonator. So even if he would die, the other thing dies. So he essentially has Death Touch, so he's a free kill on anything. And if you equip him with Loginus and make it so that you can change the text of anything with Kaguya to J-activate, you can essentially have a never dying Death Touch creature that creates a lot of havoc. Then, as kind of a finisher, just in case the game is taking a little bit too long, you can play Servant of Kaguya. Has flying, so that's really good, and it gains +400/+400 for every treasury item you control. So when you're already on the 5 challenges train, doing that every turn, that means you have at least 5 treasury items on control. So this card is going to actually be a 2400/2400. Duh, that gets really big. And if you put just a Loginus on her by herself, then she's going to be a 1300/1300 flyer off of 1 card. So that gets really big really fast. New card that we kind of added in was Alice, Guardian of Dimensions, just because she's too good as a flyer, being able to protect stuff, as well as being able to serve as spot removal. It's a really, really powerful card, so I figured I would want to run at least a couple of those in here. And then we actually went down to 3 Swordsman of the Full Moon instead of 4, just because that 4 cost kind of gets big really fast. But being able to bounce something back to the hand, again, with the whole idea of bunny hop control, bouncing stuff a lot, I wanted to make sure to still keep these guys in. Plus a 900/900 flyer is still really, really good in this game and can finish games off pretty quickly. Going into the Treasury item lineup, we run 3 Jeweled Branch of Horai. This card is insanely good with Kaguya because you can pay a light and tap it to target up to 2, target fire or darkness resonators, and then tap them. But with Kaguya 1.0's effect, you can actually change the fire or dark to any color combination you can think of. So you're playing against a green deck, change it to green, tap tap. Changing against a water deck, change it to water, tap tap. Like, you can do all kinds of stuff, and the ability to use this every single turn lets you really control the board state. Even when your opponent can commit stuff to the board, it pretty much just, if you have 3 of these on board and you have 3 light mana every turn, it pretty much just says good luck trying to play anything, because I'm going to tap down 6 creatures a turn. Like, that's really powerful. Then we run 3 Loginus the Holy Lance. This card gives whatever resonators attached to 500/500 and prevents the card can't be targeted by darkness spells or darkness abilities, and it prevents all damage done to it by darkness cards. So again, with Kaguya, you can change that text to any color. So if you're playing against a fire deck, your card can't be damaged by fire cards or targeted by fire cards. If you're playing against a water deck, like the list goes on and on. This essentially becomes an immortal protection with Kaguya 1.0. And having Little Mermaid of Tragic Love and stuff like that, you can just quickly change the attributes to make it so those cards will never ever die. It's really, really good. We added in these, a couple of Apollospheres, just a really, really solid treasury item that's come out. It can also be, another deck could be put on a J Resonator, but, your J Ruler, but there's really no point because she can't fight. Gains plus 400 and 0 for a 2-drop, and you can banish it to pay the cost of a water spell chant instant. In any other deck, if I was splashing in some different colors, you could just quickly change the cost of this real fast to be like a darkness spell chant instant or something like that, and then banish it and then get a free spell. But I mean, this deck is primarily water light and only really runs water instants, so that's what it's primarily used for. Again, it's just good for like countering as well as getting offensive done. Jewel on a Dragon's Neck, you can tap it and pay a dark to bring back a Darkness Field Edition, or just a Darkness Edition from your graveyard back to your hand. But the thing is, with Kaguya, you can change that to any color, so you can do a lot of recycling with your different editions when they get wrecked. Stone Bowl from Buddha, primarily, to be honest, I used this to get a quick J activate out for just 1 water, so just play it, get a quick J activate out as cheap as possible. If you activate, target resonator can't be blocked by fire resonators until the end of the turn. But you can change that text to be whatever you want. So if you need to get that last quick poke in, you can just make it so that your opponent can't block, and then Bob's your uncle. Instead of the spell lineup, we have 3 Rabbit Kick, just because we do run a lot of Were-Rabbits, and it can be a free 2 for 1. So that's really, really powerful, and it's a blue spell, so you can use Apollosphere to pay for it. Added these in. Shooting Star lets you redirect the target of a normal spell, as long as it has 1 target. So you can just pay for this with Apollosphere, or pay it hard out of hand and just change things back. So, oh, you're gonna play a Story Stolen 1001 Nights? Nope. Bounce it back. So some more protection effects that the deck didn't really necessarily have when I was first building it, that after testing it really needed, so we threw these in. And then the spell chant standbys that we run 3 Destructive Flow, and then 4 or 5 challenges. So they both kind of do the same thing, so I'll go over each one first. Each one kind of for the same reason, but why I put each one in. Destructive Flow is primarily to use to buy you time until you get to 5 challenges. At the end of a turn where you took damage is when this triggers. So after you've taken any kind of damage, you the player, you can just activate this, and you return all resonators that your opponent controls that are rested back to their hand. So if your opponent tries to swing in, you just go, okay, I'll block as much as possible, take a little bit of the damage as possible, and then bounce everything back. It's really, really good with Jeweled Branch of Horai. You let them swing in with their first creature, feel free to not block it, tap everything down with your Jeweled Branches, and then maximize profit right there. with just 1 card. So that paves the way for you to win the game. And then 5 challenges, just says trigger anytime you can draw a card, which is not terrible. And if you control 5 treasury items, 5 or more treasury items, you can activate a trigger and return all resonators your opponent controls, rested or otherwise, back to their hand. That's insane. Just being able to say no to your opponent's entire field for free is really, really good. Not to mention the fact that, again, with Night of the New Moon, because of the continuous effect, this card says that when you put a treasury item onto the field, you can put this card back into your hand. So what you can use is you can use Night of the New Moon early on to discard your 5 challenges over and over again to kind of keep free draws going. Because as soon as you play a treasury item, you bring it back to your hand. So it's free fodder for Night of the New Moon. And then once you're ready, you just start setting your your 5 challenges face down, and then triggering them when you want to, bouncing all your opponent's stuff back, and at that point in time, you just kind of extend handshake, because if your opponent's getting hit with 1 or even 2 5 challenges a turn, there's almost no way that they can come back from that, so you're in a pretty good shape. So yeah, that, guys, is my bunny hop control. I hope you guys liked the kind of tweaks that I made to it in light of the different deck matches that I was doing. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you thought of the deck, what you think you would change, whether you think the changes I make would have made my match go a little bit better. If you would make any changes to the deck, let me know, and if you do decide to go ahead and play this deck, let me know how it goes. Tune in next week when I'll have another matchup, and as always, guys, this is DMO73 signing off.